Huge.
So I'm so excited for this interview. Um, so yeah,
All right, I'm going to follow your lead, Amanda.
all right. I think that you do have. I think your sound is good. Yeah, and we are already recording because our editor guy will go in and edit this appropriately. We just like to make sure to have that on, mainly so we don't forget, because that would be devastating.
It would be devastating. I've done it.
Oh no, you're like, I know exactly what you're talking about.
That is the worst. Yes.
Oh Lord. So it's funny, we're trying to figure out like a different thing before. I was doing like, here's what we'll do. We'll start and go, ooh, ooh, but then we just laugh uncontrollably. So we're like, we can't start like that anymore. Because then it's the start of our thing. So he just has to kind of figure it out. We know where we're going in. So let me see here. Okay. So I'll just like go like this for Brian so he knows what's going on. All right, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for joining us today. I am amped because we got two smoking ladies with us today. Look at these blondies. We have Miss Laura, my co-host, and then Miss Tammy Dushel. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you. So fun to be here. Love it.
Yeah. Yeah. So today we are going to be chatting with Tammy, and she has just an incredible backstory. I actually met her. We were both speaking at an e-commerce conference, and we hit it off pretty much immediately. It was like we were spirit animals. I mean, it happened like that. Over so and from that point on we were pretty much inseparable during the entire conference. And man, we've been trying to actually get together, and it's only been a few months. It's literally been like, hey, we need to meet up. And so what better way than to go through this? So okay, Tammy, before I kind of get in and kind of dig in with you a little bit, how about you share a little bit about yourself, and let our audience know a little bit about you.
Sure. So I'm originally from the Midwest, like you girls, both of you. So Wisconsin's my home, and but I've really traveled internationally quite a bit in life, and just enjoy getting to know people. And some of the reasons, that allowed me to travel so much was by happenstance. I fell into modeling at a really young age. And so I lived in New York City and, traveled the world as a young model, working with lots of brands. So even though I was in front of the camera, I really started gaining a lot of insight about how brands are built and, what it takes in the team and all of the elements that go into building these big brands. So that was really interesting. And, I think that experience created a foundation that allows me now to feel comfortable, doing anything in new scenarios, because that's pretty much like, you're young, go do it. You have no choice. And you just go places you've never gone. You meet people, walk into rooms, you know. So, I'm really thankful that I had that experience as a young person, because now I just, I don't have that fear anymore, of the unknown, or walking into an unknown place, or with people, or some people are afraid to even go into conferences, alone. So so I'm thankful for that, as a foundation. I got married pretty young because I felt like I lived a whole lifetime by the time I was 23. And so I met a guy in New York, and we got married, and we had kiddos. And there were some prizes that came with that, because everything was rushed. So I didn't really know what I was getting into, although I wouldn't change a thing, because I have two beautiful kiddos from that marriage. I ended up moving to the Middle East, because that's where he was from. And just, I think because I spoke English, I was hired by Starwood Hotels, and they said, hey, you're going to become our new e-commerce director. And I said, what is e-commerce? And they're like, you'll figure it out. Here's the manual. Go ahead. I'm like, oh my God. So here I am in Beirut, Lebanon, trying to figure out what e-commerce is. And that was my beginning to the journey in e-commerce about 20 years ago. So since then, I've been building brands, for Fortune companies. I've been doing e-commerce, and everything from my own private label brands to different Fortune brands, other clients' private label brands that I help. once in a while and over the years. So Amazon is really where my forte, lies. Some people are Shopify people or Facebook people. I'm an Amazon person. So I've been on that platform for about 4 or 5 years now, and generated over $40 million in sales on that platform. So I know it pretty well, and I really love, just being at the cutting edge of all the new innovative things that they constantly come up with. So that's what my brand, the Zon Factor, is about. I created a brand called the Zon Factor. I strongly believe you can give me any business and I'll tell you 10 ways to grow that business with leveraging Amazon. So, that's what I've been doing lately. I became an instructor, a team leader at some Fortune companies, and now I just, love to share the wealth of knowledge about, I've been a hot mess in my life along the way, and how you have to hold yourself together and still achieve success. And so I love speaking, and again, traveling and meeting amazing people like you girls, and really empowering others to create their own freedoms, through entrepreneurship. That's pretty much in a nutshell.
All right. I think you need a fist bump for all of that. That's incredible.
Woohoo, that's awesome.
Right? Boom. And so what's funny is one of the things when I had reached out and to see if you would be a guest on our podcast, and I was communicating this to Laura, is we knew that we wanted to be, really selective with who we're bringing on with our audience. And I just knew, hey, you're going to be a great guest. I know, I felt like even though I had just met you once, that I got a really good grip on who you are, like as a person. We were able to share a lot of awesome stories, but the key of the thing that you said to me was, let's inspire more. And I was like, like that is what this is all about. And when you said that, I'm like, gosh, I knew we were picking the right people, but when somebody responds in that way, like, yes, I want to be on because I want to inspire more, I'm like, like, yes, that's exactly. So thank you for that. Thank you for having that heart and basically proving me right that you are the perfect guest to be on our show and talk with our audience on here. But man, what a rap sheet you have here. A resume is just holy moly. And I think it was, and I think this, one of the things I wanted to kind of chat a little bit about you with is, of course, the title of our show is, Hot Mess to Success. So, some of the more deeper type real discussions to have with you. And you did open up to me when we were at the conference a little bit about, the experience of your marriage and then living overseas and things like that. Would you care to get a little bit more into that and share a little bit about that story?
Yeah. So, I was 23 when I met him. And, even though I felt like I lived a lifetime, I certainly was naive and I didn't do a lot of homework. And, look, he's a great guy. We still, we're friends. Things happen when we're young, but, we just didn't dig deep enough into each other's backgrounds. We didn't ask deep questions. We were from different cultures. So lots of surprises came up, and I think I was pregnant with our second child, and the feds knocked on my door basically. And if that's not a scary, it was really just like out of a movie. And so one thing led to another, and he ended up being deported. And so here I am, married with two small kids, and one on the way, and I have no husband, and I can't talk to him, and I don't even know what happened. And it was a really scary time. And you just have to do what you have to do. And at that time he was the breadwinner, so I had to figure out in a hurry what to do to support these two kids and myself. It just got cut off. It's not like they give you some kind of assistance in that case. So I quickly went out and got my insurance license and started selling insurance, and that's what I did. I figured, what can I do very quickly? I applied for a bunch of jobs, but just education always comes through when you need it. I'll tell you that. So just stick your head in a book, figure it out, get certified, and let's go. And so I did that, and then we didn't get answers for a long time. He was away for a long time, and so when he finally did, and I'll never forget going in front of the judge, and the judge said, your crime isn't that serious. I let other people go every day that do far worse things, but it's just how the law is written. It was white collar stuff that I just can't let you go. You're gonna have to stay here until either the law changes, or else, I mean, the only other way you can leave is if you go back to your own country, and then I would have to formally deport you, and you'd be gone for 10 years. You couldn't come back for 10 years. And he said, well, I can't sit there without knowing I can't sit there anymore. I have to support this family. So he chose to be deported. And the judge called us both to the bench, and he said, he looked at me, blonde, light eyes, and he said, what are you going to do? And I said, well, I'm going to go with my husband. And he said, you're going to go live in Beirut with your 2 kids? And I said, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And the judge was crying. He was so upset that he couldn't do anything, and his hands were tied. Aww. And so 3 months later, he was transported back, and I hopped on a plane with my little baby and my 4-year-old and went to live in Beirut, Lebanon by myself. So that was interesting. Ride for a while.
You're freaking brave. No wonder you're like you're like a Spitfire, and you're like, yep, I'm just gonna go do it.
Yep. And to be honest, we had to have a conversation, because over all this time, there was no privacy to actually have a conversation about what happened. What is this? Who are you? Who did I marry? So we had a conversation. I got to know the culture. His family is beautiful, wonderful, wonderful culture. I loved it. It was, scary at times, but it was very insightful and beautiful at the same time. And again, it opened amazing opportunities like Starwood Hotels, and my start in e-commerce. And the kids were very well taken care of by the in-laws. And it just so happened that our marriage ended because we just were too different after we were able to grow up and talk a little bit. But the kids lived with me, came back to America, and I was a single mom for many, many years, and just had to make it work. So there's no child support that comes with that. There's nothing to fall back on, and so I just had to keep hustling, usually 2 or 3 jobs, or entrepreneurship is in my blood. So I had my real estate license, I think I told you, when I was really, really young in my teens, which led to the whole modeling career, which is a long story. But so I just kept hustling and kept doing what I had to do, and it's been rough. Sometimes you feel really alone and just like, how am I going to get through this? But I would never change a thing, because I feel empowered. I know that I can do anything at this point. Like I would never, ever feel defeated, ever. I always know that I can figure it out, right? I can look at it a different way. I can call someone, I can dig a little deeper, I can figure it out, and I'll get it done. And there's nothing you can do to dissuade me if I want something, right? So,
awesome.
So it's a good thing. Yeah.
I love that. What an inspirational story. There's so many times in life when we're like, is this rock bottom? Did I hit rock bottom? Like, can I get back up? And Amanda actually sent me an audio this morning that was Les Brown. I think she sent me like 3 of them, but one of them was Les Brown, I think. And he says on there, if you're going to get knocked down, make sure you're on your back, because you're going to get back up. or something like that. I know I didn't quote that perfectly, but I was like, oh, it just stuck in my head. And I was like, I'm going to get back up. You know what I mean? Like we're always constantly have hot messes, right? It's like one thing after another. And we feel like we get knocked down and then we're crawling back up and then we're getting knocked down. But we always rise up and we always level up. And your story is such an inspiration because it's like, there's all these things in life. And I'm sure that was in your 20s. And I'm guessing now in your e-com journey, have you had any additional knockdowns? Have you had the carpet ripped out from underneath you at this
Yeah,
point in your life?
absolutely. No, it never ends, right? So I got back to the US and had two small kids and I was living in New York City. I went back to New York and I quickly learned that as a single mom with two young kids, it's like putting kids through college to pay for their daycare. It's so expensive. So I said, okay, this isn't smart. So I had to move back to Wisconsin. And that alone was really almost like a big defeat for me to move back to my hometown. I actually had to move back in with my dad, with my two kids. And it was a little depressing for a minute. It took, because I loved New York. New York was my home. I was there for so many years. And it was it was different. But, I just said, you know what? I'm going to move back. I moved back on September 10th, 2001, the day
Oh
before.
my gosh,
I know.
stop. That just, ugh.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
and I had this amazing job lined up with this headhunter company making, well over six figures. And I had to let it go. I couldn't manage it all by myself in that city with those kids and the expense and, not having any help or family around me. So I just left it. And again, come back to Wisconsin, no job, do not know what I'm going to do. And I just had to figure things out. So it just so happened, a friend of mine, he was in the insurance industry. And he said, you had your insurance license before, but there's a guy down the hall that is giving up his mortgage company. He's retiring after 25 years. And he said it would be great if we could figure out a way to take on his book of business and help those folks with not only their insurance needs, but mortgages too. He said, why don't you figure out how to get your mortgage license? And I'm like,
Okay.
okay. So I got my mortgage license and didn't know what I was doing, but sat there, got in office and called everybody and asked all the questions until I started writing mortgages. And I did that, to support us. And it was during the boom, which was awesome. So made a lot of money, paid off all the debt that we had a lot of debt, from my husband's scenario, my ex-husband. So I had to pay off lots of debt by myself, as a single mom. And so yeah, rode the mortgage train for a while, and that was really fun. And I still do mortgages. I'm still in real estate because I love it so much. I love helping people so much. Our financial literacy, the lack of financial literacy in our society is really scary, very
Yeah.
scary. People don't even know how much they make a year.
Yeah.
Their accountants have to tell them, or it's amazing.
Right.
So that's just another piece of what I do. But so I came back, I did that, and then fast forward a bit, I did get into another relationship, and I didn't know the signs. I've never had a relationship like this, but it was, he was an alcoholic, and it became physically abusive, and so here I am stuck with my two kids in this relationship, and again, sort of had to figure out how do I, before you know it, when you're in a relationship like that, your mind, you take a beating, your mental health is just, you feel belittled so quickly. And before I knew it, I had alienated all my friends, and, I didn't even know what was happening. So it was again, a experience that I would never give up because it helped me to understand other women who might find themselves in that scenario. I always used to look from the outside looking in and think, well, why is she staying in that relationship? Why doesn't she just get out? Why is she letting him do that to her? But it's not that easy. There's so many other things that are happening. What if you have kids together, or you're living together and you have to figure out how to make enough money to make the move and get set up, or pull the kids out of school and all these different things. So that was a rough ride for about 5 years. And then again, I became a single mom. And I mean, I still was a single mom, but in a relationship, I felt like I had one less kid then, because he was a child. So it was like I had a third for a while. And then then I kind of started over, and I really got back into e-commerce. I worked for a tech company because that was the boom. Of course, I mean, the crash happened, right? So that was right around the crash at the same time. So mortgages weren't the thing to do at that time. All the mortgage companies were shutting down, all the investors. So I kind of was saying to myself, what am I going to do now? And so I looked back into tech and e-commerce, and I started going that way. And it just so happened that we had lots of furniture, and we lost one of our homes together in that previous relationship. So we had 3 warehouses full of furniture and office equipment and you name it. So I just started selling this stuff on eBay. And that was kind of the entry back into the journey of e-commerce.
The gateway e-com drug, eBay.
Yeah, exactly. So that was interesting, way to get back in, but it was a great way to do it. And I learned a lot. And then I learned a lot about keywords, not only through that, but I was then hired by a tech company. I was a software sales exec for 25 software packages, right? So I would call on different companies for different sales packages. And one of them was called Infopia. I don't think they're around anymore, but they were sort of like a Shopify, but maybe bigger. So we would, brands would put all their products and all their merchandising, on that was the back end system that was running it all. So I would work with all the SEO guys on keywords and optimizing the listings and all of that, right? So that was the predecessor to, the foundation of my knowledge to really get, going on Amazon and understanding the Amazon algorithm. So that was back in, 2011, I believe. So then, I really just continued to sell things on Amazon, and got picked up as a consultant for J&J, and did that in another big company, Fortune company. So through those relationships over the next 3 years, I was able to, walk into Amazon every day, and, at headquarters, and be flown around and talk to all the execs. And again, very insightful from, work with the brand teams, team leader to a lot of amazing, like social media experts. And, it was really, really an unbelievable experience, really insightful, a lot of hard work, because I would come home from my Fortune job, and then I would work on my own business, the rest of the night as a single mom with my kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just, it was, and that's the way it was for many, many years. I mean, I really didn't sleep much, but there was always something to do. And along the way, your kids have issues too, right? I mean, my son, he was trilingual by the time we moved back from the Middle East. So he had to repeat kindergarten because he was writing back the wrong way, like,
Oh, gee, yeah.
and didn't know the words. And then they found out that he had a hearing issue. So we had to get tubes in his ears. And so he had to repeat kindergarten, or first grade. So, that was a challenge. And then your kids, making sure that they do okay, and taking the time for the homework, and making sure that they have structure was a little bit hard, when you're trying to hustle at night, and you maybe only have 2 hours to make your dinner, get all the homework done, get bath time, blah, 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 and then get them to bed, and then come back and start working again. So it took a lot of strength and self-talk, positive self-talk
Yeah,
to
what did you lean on during that time? Because I know, again, I talked to so many women, mostly in e-commerce, and I do feel that that is one of the biggest things that they struggle with for sure is trying to figure out, A, where do I find this time? But B, do I have the stamina for what it's going to take? So how did you, with that positive self-talk, like what did you lean on for that?
I think I always think back to this. It's your perception, right? So if you go in thinking, I'll use this as an example. In real estate, when you get into real estate or any kind of sales training, they'll always tell you that it takes 100 no's to get to a yes. So that's always and in modeling, I'd knock on 100 doors or go to 100 go-sees, 100 interviews before I would get the yes. And that was just like a normal day. That's fine, you know? So this is expected. So I knew not to take anything personally, when you had a crabby pants, day, somebody got up on the wrong side of the bed and just reamed you out or something. I would never take it personally because I learned early on, oh, it's just another encounter, let's just get past that. Let's not let it ruffle my feathers. Let's keep going. Sorry you're having a bad day, basically, it's not gonna bother me.
Yeah.
So, and I think that perception was really helpful in keeping a wall, keeping a protective barrier up so that you fall apart, emotionally if you let everything get to you. So you just cannot. That's not to say you don't have feelings, but and sometimes you have to put on that strong face when you just want to fall apart and cry. You have to be the strong mom that is, let's get your homework done, and put that strong face on, to and you just know that I just look at my kids sometimes and I say, if I want to be a great example. So if I'm going to sit and cry and complain all day, I'm going to have some really, little complainer children, right? And I do not want that. I am going to be strong and they are going to be strong. And now my son's 24. He's in the army. He's in Afghanistan. He's the strongest, most amazing kid ever. Great personality. And my 20-year-old daughter is an amazing, just really, she's such an entrepreneur. It's amazing. She works with me in my mortgage business, in fact. And I love her so much. And they're happy, they're smiley. That's another thing too. I just never sheltered them like most moms do, especially your first. Oh, you can't go in the sun, you can't go in the beach. Oh my gosh, I'm not taking you in a plane. You're not going, And I did, I told you I flew across to the Middle East with these kids when they were really young. I mean, they had a lot of plane miles, when they were very young. I love bringing them into new scenarios, meeting new cultures. And I think the more you expose your kids and yourselves to stepping outside of your comfort zone and feeling okay about that, and I like to live there. I don't like to just step outside. I like to live outside that safe zone, because nothing exciting happens in your comfort zone. Boring, right? So I just love living on the periphery and experiencing new things. And I think my kids now will feel fine doing that, in their lives.
Is there anything that you did? I mean, it's like my dream to have my daughter like be an entrepreneur with me. I'm already like, she's already like doing her little lemonade stands and fun stuff like that. But is there anything like, did you instill that in them, like the ability to be an entrepreneur? Or did you have them like come into your office and work with you? I mean, as a single mom, I'm a single mom to 3 little ones too. And sometimes it's just like, they're sitting on your lap. Or yesterday when we were doing a live, Zuzi just walks in and she just ends up being in the Facebook Live. Like, I mean, there's just some things that just happen. And it's sometimes that they see you working anyways, so that you can just include them in your work, which is really fun too. So was your experience like that with your kids?
Yeah, I think they see it and then it becomes the norm, Whereas when I grew up, you know, my mother worked at a company for 40 years. She started as a secretary when she was 19. And she worked there for 40 years. She became a marketing director. They put her in, through college and the whole deal. But she still looks at me and she's like, when are you going to get a real job? She has no idea what I do. Like, they don't understand what entrepreneurship is. Oh, you're just like a butterfly. You just go any which way the wind blows. No, I've built, brands, and I have companies, and I don't, no
You're like,
one.
I'm a beautiful butterfly. That's what I'm
I'll take that, but it's
doing.
a little bit more than just being wishy-washy and just running it. I mean, okay, mom, I think she'd be happier if I just went and found a cubicle at some, office, and then she'd be like, oh, she works there. She punches in and out. So yeah, it's interesting how our generation, between the generations, they don't really understand entrepreneurship,
Right.
and I really want my kids to know that it's always an option. My grandma always said to me, education will never let you down. If you can always count on yourself, and she always said, the only person the only person you can always count on is yourself. So you need to do whatever you need to do and arm yourself with whatever you need to arm yourself with to make sure that you never have to rely on anyone else, because life happens, and she had a kind of a hard life. And so that always rung true to me. And I said, well, yeah, grandma said, so I need to know my finances. I need to know my, just education to get whatever job or make the money to support these children, to do whatever I need to do. It's on me, it's my obligation, and I need to do it, and I need to get it done. I can't look to anyone else to help me with it. So I think, getting back to your original question, you know, it's the perception. It's the perception that a person has going in, which is so big for your mental game and your mental health and wellness. And, if you have that perception, like, you know what, stuff's going to happen, man, it's fine. So let's just pivot and look at it a different way and get around it and, move on with it. And getting back to your question about entrepreneurship, I think what you're doing is so important. Your kiddos are going to see you doing it. It's going to become the norm. Nothing's going to be, strange about it. They're not going to be afraid to hop on YouTube and do some, toy opening videos, make an amazing channel. And so you're doing the right thing. And I think the second thing was, when she has the lemonade stand, give her the money and teach her about the money. It costs this much money now for this. So when you make, $10, we have to take the $3.80 out that it costs for your materials, right? And, starting that really early, so they understand, the full picture of what that is. Not just like, hey, I made $10, but mom, bought all the stuff. So they don't really get the full picture, right? So I did that with my daughter too. I said, okay, well, you have $10. So how much is it going to cost to buy your lemonade products, all the stuff? Are we going to have lemons? Are we going to have real lemons, or just yucky powder? What are we going to have? What about your cups? Let's take all that into account. And then when you make money, you take your costs out, and then all the rest is profit for you. So they really get it.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be able to do that with Ken's. And I do think, because, we have been in this mentality for so long, as long as we keep that, as a, just something in front of us and just conscious of it, I think fortunately, it'll probably be relatively kind of natural to help instill that in her, just because, again, that's how our thinking is. And it's been like that for so long. But, I really appreciate it. I think it's clearly obvious why you have had such incredible successes in your life. And I hope people can take into account, we've talked about some really serious, incredible, tough, challenging blows. And even with all of this stuff, and with the way that you're able to, like you said, perspective, and you're able to, or perception, I'm sorry, you were saying perception. When you're able to look at it like that, it does change everything, because a lot of these multiple different stories, one of these things happens to somebody and it knocks them out of the game. And that's why that's the stumbling part. And when you're just like, this is part of life, and you're able to accept that, and yeah, like you said, you're not happy about it, it's not like you want this in your life all the time, but when you don't let it detour you from where you're going, that changes everything. And so I greatly appreciate you sharing all of that as well. But now, because gosh, when I saw you speak and listened to what you were doing and your successes, um uh, prior to being able to talk to you about all the background and stuff, you are just a super powerhouse. Like, all of the stuff that you've done, and like you said, like $40 million on the Amazon platform with these brands, and you create your own brand and you have your own book and you're doing all these. We need to start, let's dig into some of that, because everybody needs to know about this freaking awesomeness that's going on here. And do you want to chat a little bit about your book, The Zon Factor?
Yeah. So how this came about was, I guess it was through, because I had this sort of tech background and e-com background, and then I found myself in mortgages, right? So in the early 2000s, but I was the person that they would call on to, hey, Tammy, something's wrong with my computer. Well, that's not the kind of tech stuff I do, but okay. It's just like solution-based, let's figure it out kind of thing, which I think is pretty much, going to get you through anything in life if you have this solution-oriented mindset. Um, so early on, I just really loved being in that space to figure things out. So people would come and, all of a sudden, digital marketing, it could be 100 different things, right? When you say digital marketing, I'm a digital marketer. Oh, okay, Tammy, can you do my LinkedIn? Can you do my Facebook ads? It's like, no, I specialize over here, Um, so, so the point is that because I really like figuring things out, I love being the first person to figure out what's going on in Amazon, like I said before. So they're just an incredible company, right? They're the second $1 trillion company. They're not going anywhere. If you look at their growth curve, it's unbelievable. And the reason I like Amazon so much is they do a lot of those things that you would otherwise have to put together to create a full funnel or a full, all the aspects that make a brand run online, right? So Amazon does the retargeting for you. They do the advertising for you. They advertise on Google for you. They do all of those things. So as long as you're able to figure out what a consumer wants, and then you optimize your listing in those consumer terms, okay, then you're going to win. And Amazon really helps you. They bring all the people to the platform, 2.6 billion people to the platform every single month. How long would it take you to do that for your own website, right? It's like,
Long time, because we did it the other way around. Obviously, we've been with Amazon for 13 years, and then so we're going into our our own website, and we're like, we knew it was going to be a challenge, but holy smokes, man, there's a lot that goes into it for sure.
yep, the Google, all the Google juice and the tagging and the, all of the metadata, and Amazon does it for you. So to me, to help people, the easiest way for me to help people was, you know what, you should really start on Amazon, because they do all of those things for you, and you just have to figure out what consumers want. And then I said, okay, so how do I help people figure that out? And so we started reverse engineering what people are searching for, right? And you can do that on Amazon with autocomplete, right? You put, just like in Google, you put a couple of words and it will finish the sentence for you or the phrase for you. So, if I put in dog toy, it will say dog toy made in the USA. So people want a dog toy made in the USA. Well, what do you think I'm going to find and list on Amazon? A dog toy made in the USA, so that's how we built our brand. And so the Zon Factor is about that. It's about, I don't care what kind of business you are in, you can tap into this powerhouse of traffic, of consumers, to grow your business. Okay. So when I say, you don't have to have a product up there, it doesn't have to be a physical product like, all of us who went to the early what is it called? AMZ or
Oh, amazing now? It's amazing now,
yes.
no?
So,
Right?
most people that you talk to that got into e-commerce went to the early conferences in the 2000, 11, 12, 13, and they were all of one mindset, and that's, go buy a bunch of stuff in China, throw it on the platform, and then just sell it. Here's some keywords, here's a tool, but if you really think about what people are searching for, and start there, the consumer journey, and then build a product and continue to evolve that product around what people are searching for, that's the way to do it. And it doesn't have to stop with products. It can be with education, with information, with digital products, with um, you can do it. You can have nothing at all and be an affiliate on Amazon and make a nice residual income. If you're a single mom and you're sitting at home, I wish I had this way back when. I wish I knew about it. I didn't, until, a few years ago. But being an Amazon affiliate is a great way to create income. And you don't even have to be in any business at all. But even, now they have services on the platform, right? So I can list my service and get referred by Amazon. So if I bought a shower head and it got delivered one day on Amazon. And when I bought it, it said, would you like to buy this with or without installation? And I thought, how am I buying installation on Amazon? So they booked a plumber in my area that they vetted. And he showed up the next day and installed my shower head for $75. And it was done. I was like, people need to know about this. So, I talked to the plumber and I said, how is this going? And he goes, well, it's really new, but, it's pretty amazing. I don't have to do anything. And I just get booked by Amazon, just like Home Advisor or Thumbtack or all the other service, Angie's List, all the people that book you out there if you're a service provider. So then I started digging into that. This is one of the things in the Zon Factor. So there's 10 ways to grow any brand or business on Amazon, and this is one of them. You can list yourself as a service on Amazon. So, and it doesn't have to be a plumber. You could be a consultant. You could be a life coach. You could be a therapist. You could be, and then you can attach a product to it. You can be a fitness trainer and refer your clients to the products that they need through the affiliate program. You could have a fitness course, and list it on Amazon. Through Fire TV, you could have your own channel. You could, tap into your YouTube channel and stream it through Fire TV and have upsells and affiliate sales. There's just so many ways to tap into Amazon, all those consumers. And if you know how to reverse engineer what consumers are looking for, right? That's how you optimize your products and get found, and voila, you're just giving people what they want in all different formats. That's it. So I just love living in that zone. So the Zon Factor zone is everything that the mainstream doesn't talk about Amazon. It's all the other little platforms. And, I found the video platform when it was just released. It wasn't even released yet. They silently release pages. Did you know that? They silently release pages.
They always silently release things.
They don't tell anyone.
No.
And then you'll just be searching around and you'll be like, what is this?
Yeah.
And there's new things that pop up in the back end of our, dashboards. And what is this whole portal? Wait a minute, it's letting me upload videos right here.
That's awesome. I mean, that is so cool. So the cool thing about that video, or I'm sorry, about the book, is that it really is anybody that either has a business, no matter what it is, brick and mortar, whatever, or maybe they don't even yet. Like the Zon Factor is giving you a comprehensive version and helping you to think outside of the box about how you can utilize Amazon, that powerhouse platform, to be able to generate income from it. So we will definitely include the link for that. We have some awesome treats for you guys. I do want everybody to know that for you to be able to listen to this episodes, we are going to have all of the stuff that we've talked about, including any of the links that you need to access, any way to get a hold of Tammy, all that kind of stuff. It's going to be hotmesstosuccess.com/Zonfactor. I can use that, right? There's no like trademark issue. No, you're like, I'm just using like, so we're gonna use that so that you guys can go. Again, you're going to be able to see everything that we talked about here, the links to get Tammy's book. And then I actually do want to talk. So real quick, we have what portion are we talking about with, is it the Digital Duchess part? What do we have to give our listeners here?
You know, this has been a brand that I had since around 2007 because people kept coming to me about anything digital. And then I happened to marry, you know, a guy with the last name Duco, D-U-C-H. So I thought, you know what? I'm a Duchess because I just give. And my mom would tell you that I just give everything away. So, you know, the idea of being the Digital Duchess is helping people find goodness online, you know, and whether that's great products, great information, and, you know, that's how it started. And I have this whole acronym. So I'm just developing it now. You know, it's been around since 2007. And it was meant to empower people to be good, do good things online. And, you know, one of my favorite books, I'll show you. Let's see. So here are some of my favorite books. This is called The Business of Doing Good. And, you know, I'm sure people have seen this recently, but there are so many brands and so many companies now that are, you know, embracing social entrepreneurship, right? Don't just build a brand, but, you know, have something that benefits from your every purchase. Or, you know, and we know millennials, 90% of millennials would rather buy something that impacts the environment or the community more than just buying a product, right? So I also started another business with friends of mine in a manufacturer called Be Generous. So BGENRUS. And so what we do is we develop products, and every product has a giving element to it. So when you buy one of those products, you know, someone's benefiting from it. So that's one of my favorite books. And while I'm on that topic, I'm just going to show you two more. This is Bob Proctor is amazing. If you haven't heard of Bob Proctor, talk about mindset, just go listen to all the Bob Proctor YouTube videos and you'll get up and you'll be like, okay, I can do anything I want. So just please.
It's so cool because I have heard of Bob Proctor, but those two books, I've not heard of either of them. So you're giving me homework. And this is what I love too. We had another guest and she had talked about a lady in a book that she read and I'm like, I've not heard of that or read that. And I started listening. I'm like, this is life-changing. I feel like I take in like so much different information. And then when this pops up, I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know about this. So this is great that you're sharing these.
Yes. And this, you know, Bob talks about being aligned with who you are, you know, your paradigm. So if you're truly doing what you're meant to do, and I know my basis is helping people somehow. Okay. So however I do that, through mortgages, through being a digital Duchess, whatever it is, empowering people, then, you know, that's what Bob kind of taught me. That's why I feel good when I do these things, because I'm aligned with what I'm supposed to be doing, right? So really powerful. You should check them out on YouTube too. And then this one I love. This, if you've never heard of Alex Becker, is a big marketer, online marketer. Okay. And he wrote this book called 10 Pillars of Wealth. And he had a conference a couple of years ago that I went to. I think it was in 2016. And he had these books. So you buy like 200 books for a ticket. And so I had all these books and I'm like, I'm going to read this and then I'm going to share it with people if it's good. So I read it and wow, I wanted my mom to read it. I was going to read it, make her read it verbatim, because this teaches people how to think of wealth differently, what an entrepreneur is, how to think of, you know, the traffic fighter mindset is what he calls it. The people that go to a cubicle and go to your job every day and work 8 hours a day to build other people's business, or having the mindset to, and the power and the support and the understanding how to build your own brand and create the freedom that you want, because we all want freedom. Who really wants to go to a cubicle and build someone else's business? Who wants
Right.
that? We all would love to build our own businesses, right? So this was, it says mindsets of the world's richest people. So the people with the wealth have this mindset. And it's important for people at a young age. I gave my 19-year-old daughter, when she was 19, this book. And she said, wow, now I get it.
Now
And
it
that
seems
was
like
sort of the thing.
I was gonna say now this needs to be the book that I give for. I'm gonna definitely read it myself, but then totally assuming that it's going to be in line with like what you're saying and how impactful it can be. That's what I'm going to start giving away for all the graduation presents, along with the money that we have to give them. But yeah, instead of a card, giving them this book sounds like it's going to be a necessity.
It's just hoping the people read it, right? That's the worst part. It's like, oh, I love getting a book at an airport and then giving it, or this one, I've read this a bunch of times, and I'll put all these notes. I don't even know if you can see, but it's all written with all kinds of notes. And have you ever done that where you read a book with a person in mind? You start thinking about a person. Like this one, I was thinking of my friend Amy, because her and her husband have a company called For Good. Everything they do, they give. There's a huge giving element to it. And we were childhood best friends. So when I read this book, I wrote all kinds of notes in it for Amy. Like, do you remember when we did this? Oh, this reminds me of the time. And it was a birthday gift. And she said it was like the best birthday gift ever, because when you really read a book, it's like sharing a book together, I don't know, but
yeah, I love it. And now that you had already said that other book when you were talking about like wanting to share that with your mom, I do have people in mind that, again, after I read it, that I know I'm going to want to share this book with them. But I did want to, because I had not mentioned it in the beginning to you too. So just, and I did say it to the audience that, again, we are going to have every, link and everything that we need to direct them back to you and your book and all of that kind of stuff. It's just going to be the general link of hotmess.success.com/Zon Factor. So if there is anything else that you would like to share, that, again, it might not be totally just ready yet, but you want to share with the audience, we can go ahead and make sure that that is ready in the show notes when it is. We don't have to talk about links or anything like that, but anything else that you want to share with the audience on that?
Yeah. So, I mean, I really love, I built a course around how to be an Amazon affiliate. And, I'd love to share that with your people, because it's so easy. And, why not get paid? So as an Amazon affiliate, for anyone that doesn't know, when you talk about, hey, I got my Instant Pot and I love it so much, and you randomly post it on Facebook, why not post it with a link that if someone clicks on it and they go buy it on Amazon, you're going to get a check in the mail? Isn't that better? So just do that. And by the way, whenever they go to Amazon, anything they buy in the next 24 hours, not only if they just go buy the Instant Pot, but whatever they buy in the next 24 hours, you get paid a percentage of that. So it's so cool. I mean, I've talked to so many women who have done this, and there was a funny story. I was speaking at an event last year, and she came out, she tapped me on the shoulder and she said, I just have to tell you something funny. And I said, what is that? And she said, I've been an associate for a couple years now. They call it the Amazon Associates Program, but it's really an affiliate program is the general term. And she said, I got this huge check last month and I had no idea where it came from. And I said, well, what was the story? And she said, I send people to go buy my book on Amazon, this book that I read and I liked, and I referred them with a link to go buy the book. So they bought the book, but someone went and bought the book, but then they bought an entire patio set and this furry Russian hat that cost $8,000. Like
awesome.
$1,200 in the mail. And she was like, what is this? So
well think
really powerful.
think about the blessings right now, you guys. This is going to be able to come out. This is going to be coming out before Q4, quarter four, which is when everybody really ramps up their shopping. So if you guys really latch on to this course that's going to be available, again, it's going to be on the show notes, then you guys have the opportunity to sit there, and when people are in high drive shopping mode, they don't even have to buy, right? They don't even have to buy what you're sending them to. It's just basically like for that next 24 hours, if they're browsing and look, whatever they buy within that 24 hours, their big screen TV. I think somebody said Amazon sells houses now. Please buy a house with my affiliate link, right? So
True.
so that's, I mean, thank you. This is super cool. I know that a lot of people in our audience are gonna be all over this, because why the heck not? It's free. Like, they don't even charge you a fee to be an associate, right?
No, you just sign up. So I teach people I walk you step by step how to get approved. Some people get, really weirded out by that, but it's, if you don't know how to set up a Facebook page or a fan page, I'll do it for you. Like, we walk through the basic stuff, to get you every step of the way to get you signed up and registered and approved really quickly, and show you how to create links, show you how to even tag and optimize images, things like that. So yeah, you can go as deep or as light as you want to go. You could be a total beginner, or even if you're not a beginner, there are things in there that people have told me that they've learned a trick or two. But why not? You're right. For Q4, it's a great thing to put into practice.
Perfect timing. Here's your Christmas money, friends.
Yay. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. This was tons of fun. I love learning all about this stuff. I'm like sitting here taking notes on the thing. I even wrote down air fryer. Like, I've always wanted to try. You're making me think of Amazon and shopping now. All of a sudden, I'm like, I need to buy an air fryer.
A Christmas list.
Cool. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Tammy. Like I said, this was incredible. Thank you for sharing your story. I know a lot of times that cannot be the easiest thing to do, but when you want to be a blessing to others and you want to inspire others, then I think that's probably why it comes so naturally, because you have such a giving heart. Like you said, you just give away everything for free. But yeah, so again, everybody, wrapping up, hotmesstosuccess.com/ZonFactor. You'll be able to get all the info there. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time.
Thanks, ladies.
Have a great day.
Pleasure. You too. Bye.
Awesome. That's a wrap.
Yay, that was fun.
Yes.
Have a
Amanda
blast.
left us right away. But